Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV, back at Mount Sharp again. We have here Sol 319323 MSL. Now this is on the Gigapan, another cracking job by Neville Thompson, and I've already covered some of this in previous videos, so I'm not going to go over this part of the image here. You got this, it says southeast here. Just below that and to the left is that thing that looks like a cabin cruiser boat wreck here, and there's also another boat in front of it. There's actually two boats there, at least two boats, possibly more, and other structures. But I did cover that a while back, and the area we're looking at is just to the right of that and below. Now you've got the cabin cruiser thing there, and below it we've got this area. Now I'm starting from about here. I'll zoom back a bit so you can see where I'm starting from. I'm starting from about there, and we're going all the way across to about here, where you've got the edge of this sort of ridge here, this dark, long ridge, okay? So that's what we're going to cover today. There are more things further over, which I may touch on, but I'll probably do this in two parts, because I really don't want to let this roll too long, because I know a lot of you prefer videos that are a bit shorter, but there's a lot to cover here, so I'll try and be quick with it, and not repeat myself too much. It's an old habit that dies hard. I taught guitar. I was a guitar tutor for 25 years, and you had to, with students, repeat things over and over again, and it's an old habit that I do struggle with. So I'll try not to do that too much today. Okay, now, first of all, I'll show you the raw images, okay? Here's one. Here's one of the raw images we're looking at. Doesn't look much, but there's something interesting up here. You can see something there. In fact, it's not even really worth looking at the raw images. Let's go back to the Gigapan. Let's go back here, because it's much clearer and it's been cleaned up quite well already. Although the colour is very white and blue here, you can see the shapes, and there's more definition in here, clarity. But the main thing we're looking at is along this ridge. There's what looks like a boat here, upturned boat, just there. And there's loads of crazy stuff down here. There's something weird here. But the main thing in this image was at the back, along here. We've got what looks like here a really large ship. And this looks like the roof, and this looks like the bow, the front of the ship. And it comes to about here somewhere, but you can see a long white line there. Okay, let me zoom in a bit more. Long white line. Let's go full screen on this, actually, might help. And it's right at the top of the image, unfortunately, so we're missing some of the detail here. But if you look carefully, you can see what almost look like windows here. There are these downward structures coming down, and this thing is huge. It's absolutely huge. I'd say this thing's probably hundreds of feet long. I don't know exactly. So right, let's crack on with it, because I don't want to take too long. You can look at this yourself and check it all out, and cross-reference all this stuff with the stuff I'm showing you, so you can see that I'm not making it up. Now, I've done some enhancements of the raw images, and what I did, I got the raw images of that area from Sol 323, and I've done a couple of stitched together mini gigapans. I mean, they're not really gigapans at all. But what I did is I basically just enhanced the image by upping the contrast and white balancing it. And I've stitched two images together, but I haven't done a huge job like Neville T does. I've just done a couple at a time, and then concentrated on each part, because there's so much in here that you've really got to look at it in smaller sections to actually appreciate what's going on. So this is one of the stitched togethers I did. I did two, but I'll probably just cover this one today, because otherwise we'll be here all day. And I won't go through all the enhancements I've done, because that would also take too long. So I'm going to go straight in with my enhancements that I'm up to now, the point I'm up to now, and show you straight away. But what I will do later, at the end of the video, I will clip out some of the earlier enhancements and then have later ones afterwards, so you can see the different stages I've taken to get to where I am now. Because if I sit here chatting about it, it will just be too long. Because I've spent days and days working on this. And I've gone in with the light and darken tool, and I've darkened some of this water or blue sand, as they call it. And I've just tried to tidy up the image and make it clear enough for you to see what's actually going on in it. Okay, let's go straight into my graphics processor here. And I've got it, I've just clipped the top of that stitch together I've done. And you can see the join here, you can just about see that join. And what I've done is I've carefully gone in and darkened parts of it and lightened other parts. And the first thing I noticed was this thing, which is what looks like an upturned boat. And this is the hull of the boat, turned upside down. And this looks like another part of the boat here, like the cabin or something, which is kind of half buried in sand. And this is quite clear. But one thing I did notice about this is that if you look along this whole ridge, there's all this kind of what looks like organic material. Now, some of this what may be seaweed, or it could be coral, or it could be some kind of vines growing along here. But if you look carefully, some of this stuff actually looks like tubing or vines or branches or something. But what I think they've done, it looks to me as if the people at JPL have seen a boat wreck here, and it's almost like they've textured it here to stop it looking like a boat, because the hull of a boat would normally be smooth. But what we may be seeing here, also, I don't know, I couldn't tell you either way really, is the boat is rotting away, and what we're starting to see is the supporting framework underneath. But it all seems very twisted indeed, and I do wonder whether NASA are actually texturing some of these anomalies here to make them blend in and just look like part of the ridge. Who knows? But it does look very odd, and I would suspect normally to see a more symmetrical looking framework here, not a load of random twisted stuff. It really does look like a load of twisted crap here, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me why a boat would look like that. I appreciate it may have been there, thousands of years, but why does it look so twisted? Perhaps it's melted. I don't know. I suspect that NASA are actually texturing a lot of this stuff here. There are some very interesting structures in here, down here as well, and they do look like they've been textured with some kind of texture from the background. They may have taken some of this texture here and then cloned it over some of this stuff. So let's crack on. The other main thing was this boat, this huge, what looks like a ship, like a ferry or some kind of large vessel. And I've gone in and I've darkened up and lightened some of the pieces here, and you can see what looks like a long roof here at the top, and it curves down, and you have what look like a whole load of windows or structures at the front here, okay, with uprights, and then you have what looks like the front of the ship here, and that is even quite clear in the raw image as I showed you, and you can see like parts of the hull here which looks like it's damaged here, and it's kind of sort of buried, and there's all this blue sand. Now some of this blue sand may well be fake. They may have just pasted it over this thing to try and hide it. I don't know. I mean, these images are manipulated, but the quality is so poor it's hard to tell really exactly what's going on. But this is why I'm trying to concentrate on these larger things here. So I'll have clips of that in the end, like I said. And there's also some weird stuff down here. There's some wreckage just here, but it's not very clear. And there's some crazy stuff going on here, and I really can't work out what this is at the front here. Now, when you look at the gigapan of this is really kind of creamy white colour, and there's hardly any contrast in there, and you can't see any structure to it really. It looks like it's all been fudged over by NASA or JPL, and it's all blurred and very reflective, so you can't really see any contrast. So what I've done, I've gone in there, I've darkened it, and you can see these long tube-like structures here coming round and over, and they're joined onto something here. I can't tell you what this is, whether this is some kind of ship or building complex or not, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of visual sense to me just yet. I might have to do a bit more work on that to work out what's going on. But it's starting to take shape here. And it's very confusing to look at because there's lots of things interwoven almost. And some of this may be organics here. Plants and stuff like that that's growing over some of this stuff. It looks very organic, some of it. But some of it is blatantly manufactured, like walls and stuff like that. And you've got this thing here which looks like some kind of boat or vessel, and it's kind of sitting on a wall or something. I mean, there's some crazy stuff in here, and this is quite large stuff, and it's hard to get a sense of scale with this. And there's this huge thing here which looks like a boat, like another cabin cruiser type thing, but it looks like it's been textured. Now the hull here, this looks like the hull, this white thing, is very vague. It's hard work to get it to come out. It's quite smooth, but then what looks like the roof structure on this thing, it looks like it's been textured. Maybe it's made of a different material, maybe it's melted, maybe it's rotting away, I don't know. But these are two different types of material here. The hull here, the white part of this thing, is nice and smooth and very reflective, whereas this part here, up the top here, looks much more like this stuff in the background. So it's almost like they've done it again here. It's almost like they pasted some texture into this image to try and blend it in with all this crap in the background. It's very hard to tell. So I'll have a clip of that as well. So that was it mainly for this. There was also some stuff in the background here, but it's too vague. But there is some definite intelligent structures here. Just here, there's like a slipway kind of thing here, like a ramp. And there's some buildings up here, but it's very vague. And the image is too low quality really to actually get any clarity from that. So I might do a bit more work on that. We're not going to promise too much with that. And there's little buildings and all sorts of stuff up here. And I really think this thing here is like a really large ship, or at least the front end of one. And it seems to be all sort of broken up here. And this may be part of it here. We've got some similar structures here that look like windows or something, and struts like we got at the front. So there we go. So yes, I'll have clips at the end and close-ups of all this. I can't possibly show you all now. There's far too much of it. So there we go, folks. I will probably do a part 2 to this, and there's another stitch together I've done which covers the Gigapan from a bit further over. I'll just give you a sneak preview of some of the things that are in there. There's this thing that looks like a ship. Now this is from the Gigapan, just a straight clip. Looks like a ship here. But there's a ridge line in front of it. And it may even be two boats. There may be a smaller boat here, if you can see that, and a larger one behind it. So I'll probably do that in part 2 to keep this short. So there we go, folks. What looks like a huge dockyard or marina. Not sure what to call it yet. I'm sure I'll think of something. There we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Links in the description as usual. But you don't have to have much imagination to see this stuff. You can just see it in the Gigapan. You can just scroll around and you can see all this stuff there. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you soon.